Well, good morning. It's a lot more winter-ier. Is that a word? A lot of snow. Very wintry up here. Over in my place up north. Getting a little R&R and doing some work. My dog loves it. He's having a party. I was going to jump in the lake. As you can see, it's frozen. It's alright though. It's very peaceful out here. It gives you time to think and work on things that I need to work on. Projects and of that sort. Shut the world off. Let's talk about extreme ownership. I recommend the book by Jocko Willink. It's a good book, good leadership book. A lot of people though don't know how to apply it in their lives, even after reading it though. And since, of course, I'm a relationship, dating coach, all that stuff, we'll talk about how you apply it in a breakup, after breaking up with somebody, after a relationship ends. You'll notice, especially with females, you rarely hear someone say, yeah, well, there are a lot of mistakes I made in that relationship. There were some things I did wrong, A, B, and C, and I had to work on myself to fix those mistakes. You never hear that, do you? You usually hear how the guy was toxic, or the girl was abusive, or, she didn't, care about me. She didn't talk to me in a way that was respectful. She was, bitchy and didn't appreciate what I did for her. Oh, he was this. He was a jerk. It's like they'll target every small event that went wrong in the relationship to justify why it ended and why it's the other person's fault. Right? Well, the problem with that is you never level up if you do that. When something ends, relationship ends, even if the other person is completely fucked up and did a million things wrong. I mean, if that's, it's that could be the case, right? But there's almost never a case where you did, in fact, there is never a case where you did nothing wrong. Even let's say the person is, some borderline personality disorder chick, mood swings all the time, fucking, crazy acting, abusive. Let's just pretend that's the case. And she's like a terrible person, right? Well, you picked it. You thought you could work with it. You maybe added to the problem. Maybe you didn't get her help that she needed, or at least suggested. I'm not saying, it's not about blaming the guy, because I'm talking from guy's perspective at the moment, but it's just stating the facts that there are things that you did, even if it was just selecting the proper mate, there are things that you did that led to that ending. So you could spend your time, your life, making excuses for your own behavior by putting it on the other person completely and taking zero ownership for yourself. Or you could pinpoint the things that you could have done better and you fix it. And then you move on. So that's what I recommend, and that's part of the moving on process if there is, an end relationship. And even during the relationship too. I mean, during the relationship, you're going to talk about standards, you're going to talk about boundaries. You might, have to approach something where you say, hey, I'm not okay with this thing that you're doing, right? And that's part of being in the relationship. But you still have to take that ownership for your behavior in it, right? It doesn't mean apologize and placate, and I'm not saying apologizing's wrong, but blubber about it and try to bribe her with flowers and candy and trinkets because you fucked up. No, it means though that you identify what you've done that was unproductive and you start fixing it. So, but after that relationship ends, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if you run into that person and there's a discussion about all the things you've done wrong, Well, the answer is, I'm sorry that it didn't work out between us. And you know what? I take ownership for the things that I did do that contributed to that ending. And it's something that I've worked on. And that's it. You don't need to come back with, but you did A, B, and C, and you did this and you did that. That's just this tired old argument that ended you guys in the first place. So, as I've said in previous videos, all things end. Relationships included, and they usually end in tragedy. Now you get into that monogamous relationship, if you're not a fucking quitter, if you're not a cheater, you can make that relationship work no matter what happens. And the tragedy is that you both pass away in your old age. The tragedy isn't you ran off with some chick while she was at home because you guys are arguing a lot. Or she runs off with some dude and she replaces you emotionally with some dude because you're having problems together. Right? That's a tragedy that you hope isn't going to be your story. You hope that you mate select in such a way where that's not how it ends. You hope that no matter what, happens in that monogamous relationship, no matter what the mistakes are, that you guys can not be quitters and work through it. Especially if you're, spiritually speaking, because of your religious beliefs and your esoteric beliefs, spiritually married to that person. I won't say married on paper, because to me that doesn't matter. That's the state intervening in your business, okay? But, you believe that you're supposed to be, like, not one-itis, but you believe that you're making a vow to be with this person, right? And sometimes you need to leave too, right? If they're unable and unwilling to meet, they refuse to meet standards. Not that they're working on it, but they refuse to. And you have to leave them too, and that's a thing. But that doesn't mean that you blame them then for everything, right? So the point is what's going to be productive for you? What's your story? It just didn't work out, and there were some mistakes I made that I had, it's a good learning experience, and I had an opportunity to fix a lot of things about myself and get better. Or is it I was abused and neglected and I did everything and she did nothing and then she just cheated, or she did this, she did that, she casted me aside, I'm a victim. What is your story going to be? What is it that you can fix so that your next relationship or the next thing that happens down the road for you is better? And that's what is meant by extreme ownership. So, thanks for sharing this wonderful weather with me. Have a good afternoon.